Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Starbound, watching the strange ship approach Earth. The alien vessel looked like it was made of crystal and light. It had been sending the same message for 3 days now. The message was simple. They wanted to meet humans peacefully and learn about Earth. Jake had been in space for 15 years. This was different. This was humanity's first real contact with aliens. He felt nervous and excited at the same time. The ship was beautiful, unlike anything humans had ever built. It moved smoothly through space, without any visible engines or thrusters. Dr. Lisa Campbell walked onto the bridge. She was Earth's best scientist when it came to studying life forms. Lisa had spent years wondering what alien life might look like. Now she was about to find out. She carried a tablet full of notes and questions. She wanted to ask, "Any word from Earth's command?" Jake asked her. "They want us to be friendly, but careful," Lisa replied. This could change everything for humanity. The alien ship stopped near Earth's moon. It was huge, maybe 10 times bigger than the Starbound. The crystal surface seemed to pulse with soft blue light. Wow. Jake had never seen anything so beautiful. And strange, Captain Morrison, came a voice from the communications system. The voice was calm and spoke perfect English. "I am Ambassador Zethkar of the Galactic Federation. We request permission to meet with your species." Jake looked at Lisa. She nodded back at him. This was it. "Ambassador Zethkar, this is Captain Morrison. We welcome you to Earth's solar system. We would be honored to meet with you." "Captain, we will send a small group to your planet's surface. We have studied your world from a distance and find it most interesting." Within hours, a smaller ship detached from the crystal vessel. It was still bigger than most human spacecraft, but it moved with the same smooth grace. The ship headed toward Earth, specifically toward the landing site that had been prepared in Nevada. Jake and Lisa took a shuttle down to Earth to meet the aliens. The landing site was in the middle of the desert, far from any cities. Earth's military had set up a safe area with medical facilities and communication equipment. Scientists from around the world had gathered to witness this historic moment. The alien ship landed without making any sound. It simply settled onto the ground like a feather. The surface of the ship seemed to ripple, and then an opening appeared. Jake held his breath. The first alien to step out was tall and thin, with skin that looked like polished silver. It had 4 arms and large eyes that seemed to glow with their own light. This was Ambassador Zethkar. Behind him came 4 other beings, each completely different from the others. One alien looked like it was made of living rock, moving slowly but steadily. Another was covered in what looked like fur, but the fur seemed to move on its own. Third alien was small and floated above the ground, surrounded by a bubble of green gas. The last one looked almost like a human, but its skin was blue and it had gills on its neck. "Greetings, humans of Earth," Ambassador Zethkar said. His voice came from a small device attached to his chest. "I am honored to meet your species. We represent the Galactic Federation, an alliance of worlds dedicated to peace and knowledge." Jake stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador. I'm Captain Jake Morrison, and this is Dr. Lisa Campbell. We're honored to meet you as well." Ambassador's large eyes studied Jake and Lisa carefully. "We have come to learn about your world. Our records show that Earth is classified as a death world. We are curious about how your species has survived in such a harsh environment." Lisa looked confused. "Deathworld? What do you mean? Floating?" Alien spoke next. Its voice was high and musical. "A deathworld is a planet with conditions that are deadly to most forms of life. High gravity, dangerous weather, toxic atmosphere, violent geological activity. Your world has all of these things. But Earth isn't that dangerous," Jake said. "I mean, sure, we have storms and earthquakes sometimes, but people live everywhere on the planet." The rock-like alien made a rumbling sound that might have been laughter. "Captain Morrison, your planet's gravity is nearly twice what most civilized worlds consider safe. Your atmosphere contains oxygen at levels that would be toxic to most species. Your weather systems regularly produce winds that could destroy our cities." Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. "You're saying that Earth is unusual?" "Not unusual," Ambassador Zethkar replied. "Possible, according to our records. no world with Earth's characteristics should be able to support intelligent life yet. Here you are, not just surviving, but thriving. The blue-skinned alien stepped forward. We have studied over 10,000 inhabited worlds. Most support life because they are gentle and stable. The world is violent and unpredictable. It should have killed any intelligent species long before they could develop technology. Jake looked around at the desert landscape. The sun was beating down mercilessly. The temperature was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. To him, it was just a warm day in Nevada. But he noticed that all the aliens were wearing what looked like protective suits. "Is that why you're wearing those suits?" Lisa asked. "These are environmental protection systems," the floating alien explained. "Without them, your world's conditions would kill most of us within minutes. The heat, the pressure, the radiation from your sun, the oxygen levels, it's all far beyond what we can survive." "But this is just a normal day," Jake protested. "It's not even that hot compared to some places on Earth." The aliens looked at each other. Ambassador Zethkar made a note on a device he carried. "Captain Morrison, what you call normal would be considered an extreme survival situation on most worlds. We came here expecting to find a small population of hardy survivors, living in protected shelters and struggling against your planet's hostility. Instead," the rock alien added, "we find billions of your kind living openly on the surface, traveling freely between different climate zones, and apparently comfortable in conditions that would challenge our most advanced military equipment." Lisa began to understand. "You're saying that humans are tougher than most alien species?" "Much tougher," Ambassador Zethkar confirmed. "We have encountered species that can survive in individual extreme conditions. Some can handle high gravity, others can tolerate temperature extremes. A few can process oxygen-rich atmospheres, but your species handles all of these conditions simultaneously, and you do it without any apparent effort." The furry alien spoke. For the first time, its voice was soft but carried clearly. "What puzzles us most is that you seem to enjoy your world. Our initial observations showed humans engaging in recreational activities in environments that would be considered military training exercises on most worlds." "Recreational activities?" Jake asked. "Swimming in your oceans, climbing your mountains, running long distances in your heat, playing in your snow. On most worlds, these would be survival challenges. Here, you do them for pleasure," Lisa laughed. "Well, yes, people like to stay active and explore. It's fun." "Right? Fun?" the ambassador repeated slowly. "You find survival challenges fun." "I guess when you put it that way, it does sound strange," Jake admitted. The blue alien made another note. "We will need to completely revise our understanding of Deathworld adaptation. Your species has not just survived impossible conditions. You have made those conditions into entertainment." As the day continued, Jake and Lisa began to realize that humanity's first contact with aliens had revealed something unexpected. Earth wasn't just another world. It was apparently the most dangerous, inhabited planet the galaxy had ever encountered. And humans weren't just another species. They were survivors of conditions that would challenge the most advanced civilizations. In space, the ambassador's final words of the day stuck with both humans. "We came here to study Deathworld survivors. Instead, we have found Deathworld masters. This changes everything we thought we knew about life in the universe." That night, as the alien delegation rested in their environmentally controlled shelter, Jake and Lisa sat outside under the stars, breathing the deadly air and enjoying the lethal radiation of their impossible world, finally understanding that what they called home was actually a miracle of survival that had never been seen before in the galaxy. The next morning, Dr. Ben Carter arrived at the landing site with a team of geologists and biologists. He was excited to show the aliens around Earth and help them understand how humans lived. Ben had spent 20 years studying rocks and soil, but he had never imagined he would be giving a tour to beings from other worlds. The alien delegation looked tired, explained that they had trouble sleeping because of Earth's gravity. What felt normal to humans was crushing them even while they rested. Their beds had to be specially designed to help support their bodies against the constant downward pull. "Today we want to show you a typical human community," Ben said cheerfully. "We thought you might like to see how ordinary people live on Earth." The aliens exchanged worried glances. If yesterday's desert meeting had been challenging, they were not sure they were ready for more of Earth's surprises. Ben led them to a small town called Greenfield, about 50 miles from the landing site. The town had volunteered to host the alien visitors. As they traveled, Ben pointed out the landscape. "See those mountains?" he said, gesturing toward peaks in the distance. "People climb those for fun every weekend. And that river down there? Kids go swimming in it during summer?" Velahan, the alien who breathed methane and came from a world of floating islands, made a choking sound. His scanner was beeping frantically. "Dr. Carter, that water is moving at tremendous speed. The current would crush most beings instantly. And the rocks in it. They would cut through our protective suits like blades." "Well, that's just a normal mountain stream," Ben replied. "The water's a bit cold and fast, but it's perfectly safe. My daughter learned to swim in a river just like that one." The rock-like alien, whose name was Cortex, rumbled nervously. "Your offspring practiced survival skills in conditions that would kill our military forces?" "Well, I wouldn't call swimming a survival skill," Ben said with a laugh. "It's just something kids do for fun in the summer." When they reached Greenfield, the aliens immediately noticed something strange. Humans were walking around outside without any protective equipment. Children were running and playing in the open air. Elderly people sat on benches, calmly breathing. The deadly atmosphere. The mayor of Greenfield, a woman named Carol Stevens, came to greet them. She was in her 60s and moved with the easy confidence of someone who had lived her entire life in conditions the aliens considered impossible. "Welcome to our town," Carol said warmly. "We're so excited to meet you. Would you like to see our school first?" The children are very curious about visitors from space. The aliens huddled together for a quick discussion. Finally, Ambassador Zethkar agreed. "We would be honored to meet your young." At the elementary school, 30 children between the ages of 6 and 12 had gathered in the gymnasium. They sat cross-legged on the floor, which immediately concerned the aliens. The children were sitting directly on a surface that supported the full crushing weight of Earth's gravity, and they looked completely comfortable. "These are our kids," said the principal, Mrs. Davis. "They've been learning about space and other planets. They have lots of questions for you." A 8-year-old girl named Emma raised her hand. "Do you really live on different planets? What's it like?" The blue-skinned alien with gills called Nexara tried to answer. "We live on worlds that are gentler than yours. Our planets have lighter gravity, softer weather, and calmer environments." "That sounds boring," said a 10-year-old boy named Ryan. "Don't you have any fun stuff like storms or earthquakes or big waves?" The floating alien in the green gas bubble nearly fell out of the air. "Child, those things you mentioned would destroy our cities. They are not fun. They are catastrophic events." "But earthquakes are cool," Ryan insisted. "Last year we had one that shook the whole school. It was awesome. My dad took me to see the big waves at the beach during the winter storm. They were huge." Ben tried to help. "What Ryan means is that natural events like storms and earthquakes are part of life here. We build our structures to handle them, and people learn to stay safe during dangerous weather." "You teach your children to survive planetary disasters?" Bellahan asked in disbelief. "We teach them to be careful and use common sense," Mrs. Davis replied. "Just basic safety rules." At that moment, a 12-year-old boy named Kevin Walsh walked into the gym, carrying a small snake. He had found it outside during recess and wanted to show it to his teacher. The snake was a common garter snake. It's completely harmless by human standards. The reaction from the aliens was immediate and terrifying. Alarms began blaring from their protective suits. The floating alien shot up toward the ceiling. The rock alien backed against the wall. Ambassador Zethkar started shouting orders in his own language. "Put that creature down immediately," Nexara yelled. "It's armed with biological weapons." Kevin looked confused. "What?" "It's just a garden snake. They're harmless. Want to pet it?" Held the snake out toward the aliens and 3 of them collapsed. Their suits were pumping emergency medications into their systems. The children watched in amazement as the powerful beings from space were apparently terrified of Kevin's small snake. I don't understand, Kevin said to Ben. What's wrong with them? Ben knelt down and gently took the snake from Kevin. There. Scanners are telling them that this snake has venom that could kill them. They don't understand that it's not dangerous to humans. But it's not dangerous to anyone, Kevin protested. My little sister picks these up all the time. Ambassador Zethkar, still shaking, managed to speak. Child, our instruments detect enough toxic compounds in that creature to eliminate the entire population of a small city. The biological weapons it carries are more dangerous than our most advanced military hardware. But it's never hurt anybody, Kevin said. Look. He gently stroked the snake's head with his finger. The snake remained calm and relaxed. The aliens watched in horror as a human child casually handled what their technology identified as one of the most dangerous biological weapons they had ever encountered. The snake seemed content to be held and showed no signs of aggression. This is impossible, Cortex rumbled. That creature should have killed you the moment you touched it, Ben tried to explain. Garter snakes do have a mild venom, but it's not harmful to humans. Our bodies can handle it easily. Kevin's been catching snakes like this since he was 5 years old. Your 5-year-old children handle military-grade biotoxins as recreational activities? Velahan asked weakly. They're not biotoxins, Ben said. They're just snakes. Snakes. The word harmless seemed to break something in the aliens' understanding. They began talking rapidly among themselves in their own languages. Their translation devices were struggling to keep up. Finally, Ambassador Zethkar spoke again. Dr. Carter, we need to understand something. You say this creature is harmless, but our most advanced scanning technology identifies it as carrying multiple lethal compounds. How do you define harmless? Ben thought for a moment. Well, I guess. We mean it won't hurt you unless you're allergic or something. It might bite if you scare it, but the bite won't cause any serious damage. Kids get bitten by these snakes pretty regularly and they're fine. Your children are regularly exposed to venom that would kill most galactic species, and you consider this normal, Nexera asked. When you put it that way, it sounds bad, Ben admitted. But really, it's just not dangerous to us. We've evolved alongside these creatures for millions of years. The aliens spent the next hour running medical scans on Kevin, trying to understand how a human child could survive direct contact with what their instruments identified as a biological weapon. They found that his immune system was constantly fighting off bacteria, viruses, and toxins that would be lethal to most galactic species. This child, Ambassador Zethkar said slowly, is more biologically resilient than our finest military personnel. Kevin, Ben asked. He's just a regular kid. Maybe a little more interested in animals than most, but nothing special. Data as they prepared to leave the school, the aliens realized that their understanding of humanity needed another major revision. Not only did humans survive on an impossible world, but their children played with creatures that galactic civilization would classify as weapons of mass destruction. And they did it all while calling it perfectly normal and safe. That evening, Ambassador Zethkar sent another report to the Galactic Federation Council. It was even more urgent than the first. Earth was not just a death world. It was a world where the very concept of danger had been redefined by a species that had grown so tough that weapons looked like toys to them. Admiral Kate Brennan had been watching the alien reactions for 2 days now. She was the head of Earth's military space program, and she wanted to show the visitors what human training looked like. The aliens seemed amazed by ordinary children and regular people. She wondered what they would think of trained soldiers. We would like to demonstrate some basic human military preparation, Kate told Ambassador Zethkar. Nothing too advanced, just the simple skills we teach our young recruits. The aliens agreed, though they looked nervous. They had learned that human ideas of simple and normal were very different from galactic standards. Their medical team was on standby, and they had prepared extra emergency equipment. Staff Sergeant Tony Rodriguez was chosen to lead the demonstration. He was 35 years old and had been training soldiers for 15 years. Tony was not special by human standards. He was just a regular military instructor who taught basic survival skills. Today we'll show you standard wilderness survival, Tony announced. This is what we teach to 18-year-old recruits in their first month of training. The demonstration area was set up in the mountains near the town. It was a beautiful day with clear skies and a temperature of about 75 degrees. To the humans, it was perfect weather for outdoor activities. The aliens huddled in their environmental suits, their scanners showing dangerous levels of solar radiation and atmospheric pressure. Tony started with fire making. He took 2 pieces of wood and began rubbing them together. The most basic survival. Skill is making fire without matches or lighters, he explained. Every soldier learns this in basic training. Within minutes, smoke appeared. Then a small flame caught the dry grass Tony had prepared. The aliens watched in amazement as he built the fire larger using sticks and leaves. Impossible, whispered Velahan. He created combustion using only manual friction. The energy required, the precision, so take our finest engineers. Hours to accomplish? It's really not that hard, Tony said. Kids learn this at summer camp. My 10-year-old nephew can do it. The aliens made frantic notes. Their children learned mathematics and art. Human children learned to create fire with their bare hands. Next, Tony showed them water purification. He walked to a nearby stream and filled a container with water that looked clean to human eyes. The alien scanners immediately began screaming warnings about biological contamination. This water contains thousands of microorganisms that would kill most species within hours. Nexara said, his voice shaking, "You cannot possibly drink that." Tony smiled and held up a small tablet. Water purification tablets. Drop one in, wait. 30 minutes, and it's safe to drink. He demonstrated by swallowing one of the tablets himself to show it was harmless. But what if you don't have tablets? Cortex asked. Then you boil it, Tony replied. He put the container over his fire. Heat kills most harmful bacteria. It's basic chemistry, and if you have no fire, Ambassador Zethkar pressed. Tony thought for a moment. Well, in a real emergency, you can drink it anyway. You might get sick, but you probably won't die. Humans can survive a lot of stomach problems. Dehydration is usually more dangerous than bad water. The aliens nearly fainted. Tony was casually discussing drinking water that would kill them instantly, treating it as a minor inconvenience that might cause temporary illness. Let me show. You food gathering, Tony continued. He walked into the forest and began pointing out various plants. These berries are safe to eat. These leaves can be boiled into tea. His bark can be chewed for nutrition. He picked several plants and began eating them raw. The alien scanners were going crazy. Every plant Tony consumed registered as containing compounds that would be toxic to most galactic life. Sergeant Rodriguez Velahan said urgently. Instruments show that you have just ingested 17 different chemical compounds that would require immediate medical treatment if consumed by any of our species. Really? Tony asked, chewing thoughtfully on a piece of bark. They taste fine to me. Maybe a little bitter, but nothing bad. He continued the demonstration by catching a fish with his bare hands from the stream. The aliens watched in disbelief. As he grabbed the slippery creature and killed it quickly with a sharp rock, fish is great protein, Tony explained. You can eat it raw if you have to, but it's better cooked. He cleaned the fish with a knife and roasted it over his fire. Kill and consume other life forms without processing or purification? Nexara asked. Well, yeah, Tony said. That's what eating is. Don't you guys eat? We consume processed nutrients that have been carefully prepared to remove all harmful elements, Ambassador Zethkar explained. The idea of eating ... raw biological matter ... is terrifying to most species. Tony shrugged. Different worlds, different ways, I guess. The afternoon demonstration moved to physical challenges. Tony showed them how soldiers learned to march long distances carrying heavy packs. He strapped on a backpack that weighed 60 pounds and began walking up a steep mountain trail. Standard. March pace is 3 miles per hour for 12 hours, Tony called back to the group. In full gear, carrying weapons, ammunition, food, and water. The aliens followed in a vehicle, their scanners showing that Tony was carrying weight equal to nearly half his body mass while walking uphill in conditions that would challenge their best machinery. He was not even breathing hard. This is superhuman strength, Cortex rumbled. No organic being should be able to sustain such performance. It's just basic fitness, Tony replied. We're not even doing the hard stuff today. Advanced training includes 40-mile hikes, obstacle courses, and combat simulations. When they reached the top of the mountain, Tony pointed out the view. Beautiful, isn't it? This is why I love this job. You get to see amazing places. The aliens looked around at the thin air, intense solar radiation, and steep cliffs that surrounded them. Their environmental suits were working at maximum capacity just to keep them alive. Tony was standing in the open air enjoying the scenery. Dr. Amy Foster joined them at the mountain peak. She was a marine biologist who had volunteered to show the aliens' Earth's oceans. Amy was a small woman who looked like she could be someone's grandmother, but she had spent her career studying the most dangerous waters on the planet. "Are you ready to see the ocean?" Amy asked cheerfully. The aliens looked at each other nervously. Why, if mountains were this challenging? They were not sure they wanted to see what Earth's oceans had to offer. They traveled to the coast, where Amy had prepared a boat for a short trip. The ocean looked beautiful to human eyes, with blue water stretching to the horizon.
Alien?
The alien scanners painted a different picture. "This water is under tremendous pressure," Velahan observed. "The salt content would dehydrate most beings instantly. The temperature fluctuations would cause thermal shock. In the motion, ... how do you remain stable in such violence?" The boat was gently rocking in what humans would call calm seas. 2. The aliens, it felt like being inside an earthquake. "This is nothing," Amy laughed. "Wait until you see what lives down there." She showed them pictures of Earth's marine life: sharks, whales, jellyfish, and deep-sea creatures that looked like monsters from nightmare stories. The aliens realized that humans regularly entered the water with these creatures for recreation and research. "You voluntarily submerge yourself in liquid that contains predators larger than our spacecraft," Nexara asked. "Sharks are actually pretty gentle," Amy replied. "I've been swimming with them for 20 years. They're more afraid of us than we are of them." The idea that apex predators were afraid of humans was something the aliens had never considered. Only humans seemed to seek them out. Dr. Foster, Ambassador Zethkar, said slowly, "We are beginning to understand that your species has a very different relationship with danger than most civilizations. What you call normal activities would be considered extreme military operations by our standards." Amy smiled. "I suppose we are pretty tough. But honestly, Earth just teaches you to be adaptable. You learn to handle whatever comes your way." As the sun set over the ocean, the aliens realized they had witnessed something unprecedented. Humans did not just survive on their deadly world. They had learned to thrive in conditions that would destroy most galactic civilizations. And they did it all while calling it basic training and normal life. Colonel Steve Harrison received an urgent message from the Galactic Federation Council 3 days after the aliens had arrived. The message was marked as highest priority and came directly from the Council's emergency response team. Steve had been expecting something like this, as the alien delegation had been sending increasingly worried reports back to their government. Dr. Helen Price was with Steve when the message arrived. She was Earth's leading expert on evolution and how life changes over time. Helen had been trying to help the aliens understand how humans had developed to survive on Earth. It was proving to be more difficult than anyone had expected. "The Council wants a full review of Earth's classification," Steve told Helen. "They're saying our planet might be more dangerous than they originally thought." "More dangerous?" Helen asked. "What did they think before? They classified Earth as a Class 7 Deathworld. Apparently that's already considered nearly impossible for intelligent life. But now they're talking about creating a whole new classification. Level." Ambassador Zethkar arrived at their meeting looking exhausted. His environmental suit had been upgraded twice since arriving on Earth, but he still seemed to struggle with the basic conditions. Behind him came the other aliens, all looking stressed and worried. "Colonel Harrison, Dr. Price," the ambassador said formally, "we have received instructions from our government. The Galactic Council has called an emergency session to discuss Earth. This has never happened before in our recorded history." "Is that bad?" Steve asked. "We are not sure," Zethkar replied honestly. "The Council has studied over 10,000 inhabited worlds. Never has a single planet required an emergency review. Your world is unique in ways we are still trying to understand." Helen had prepared a presentation about human evolution. She hoped it would help explain why humans were so different from other species the aliens had met. "Let me show you how humans developed over millions of years," Helen began. She displayed images of Earth's history on a large screen. "Our planet has always been dangerous. Ice ages, volcanic eruptions, asteroid impacts, massive climate changes. Humans survived all of these." The aliens studied the images with growing alarm. Earth's history looked like a catalog of extinction events. Any one of these disasters would have wiped out most civilizations they knew. "These ice ages," Velahan said, pointing at the screen. "Your entire planet was covered in ice for thousands of years. How did any life survive?" "Life adapted," Helen explained. "The species that survived learned to handle extreme cold, find food in harsh conditions, and work together to stay alive. Humans are descended from survivors of dozens of these major disasters." But this asteroid impact, Cortex rumbled, indicating another image. "This destroyed most life on your planet." "How did your ancestors survive?" "They were small and flexible," Helen said. "They could eat many different foods, live in various environments, and change their behavior quickly. The big, specialized creatures died out. The adaptable ones lived." Ambassador Zethkar was taking detailed notes. "Dr. Price, are you saying that humans evolved specifically to survive planetary disasters?" "In a way, yes," Helen replied. "Major crisis made us tougher, smarter, and more adaptable. We learned to eat almost anything, live almost anywhere, and survive almost any conditions." The blue-skinned alien, Nexara, looked troubled. "This explains much about your species' capabilities. You are not just tough by accident. You are the product of millions of years of survival training." "I never thought of it that way," Helen said, "but I suppose that's accurate." At that moment, 5-year-old Danny Kim ran into the room. He was visiting the facility with his mother, who worked as a translator. Danny was carrying a small furry animal in his arms. To human eyes, it was obviously a pet hamster. To the aliens, it was something else entirely. The moment Danny entered the room, alarms started blaring from every alien environmental suit. The floating alien shot toward the ceiling again. The rock-like alien pressed himself against the wall. Ambassador Zethkar began shouting in his own language. "Danny, what do you have there?" Helen asked calmly. "This is Mr. Whiskers," Danny said proudly, holding up the hamster. "He's my pet. Want to see him?" The hamster was a perfectly normal golden hamster, small and fluffy and completely harmless. It sat calmly in Danny's hands, occasionally twitching its nose. "Get that creature away from us!" Nixara screamed. "It's armed with biological weapons." Danny looked confused. "Mr. Whiskers isn't dangerous. He's really nice. Look, he likes to be petted." Danny gently stroked the hamster's fur. The aliens. Scanners were showing readings that terrified them. The small creature registered bite force ratios that classified it as a Class C threat. Its teeth were designed for crushing and cutting. Its claws were sharp enough to penetrate most alien protective equipment. Child Ambassador Zethkar said, trying to keep his voice calm, "That creature is a predator. Our instruments show it has killed and consumed other life forms." "Well, yeah, he eats other animals," Danny said matter-of-factly. "He likes mice and bugs, but he's never hurt anyone. See?" Danny held the hamster up to his face, and the animal gently sniffed his nose. "It's touching your face," Bellahan cried. "Those are military-grade cutting implements near your vital organs." "They're just teeth," Danny laughed. "All animals have teeth. Mr. Whiskers is gentle. It's never bitten anybody hard." "Never bitten anybody hard," Cortex repeated. "You mean it has bitten you?" Danny held up his finger, which had a tiny mark on it. "He bit me last week when I was giving him a bath. But it didn't really hurt. It was just a little pinch." The aliens stared in horror. This human child had been attacked by a predator and treated it as a minor inconvenience. The wound that would have required emergency surgery for most species was dismissed as a little pinch. "Danny," Helen said gently, "can you tell our visitors how long you've had Mr. Whiskers?" 2 years, Danny replied. "I got him when I was 3. My mom said I was old enough to take care of a pet. He gave a 3-year-old child responsibility for a predator. Nexar asked Danny's mother, who had just entered the room. Mrs. Kim looked surprised. A predator? It's just a hamster. They're very gentle pets. Most kids Danny's age have pets like this. Most children on your world live with trained predators. Ambassador Zethkar asked weakly. Well, I wouldn't call them predators, Mrs. Kim. He said they're just pets. Dogs, cats, hamsters, rabbits, birds. Normal family animals. The aliens requested an immediate break to consult with their medical team. They spent an hour analyzing their scanner data and trying to understand how human children could safely interact with creatures that registered as dangerous weapons. When they returned, Ambassador Zethkar looked even more exhausted than before. We have been in contact with our government, he announced. The Galactic Council has made a preliminary decision. Earth is being reclassified as a Class 12 Deathworld. What does that mean? Steve asked. Classes 1 through 10 already existed, Zethkar explained. Class 10 was considered the absolute maximum level of planetary danger. Worlds so hostile that intelligent life was considered impossible. Earth required us to create new classification levels. But people live here just fine, Helen protested.
Oh.
Is exactly the problem, the ambassador replied. Your species does not just survive Class 12 conditions, you thrive in them. Keep predators as companions. Your children play with biological weapons. You voluntarily expose yourselves to lethal environments for entertainment. Velahan spoke up. Dr. Price, we now understand what happened during your evolution. Your planet did not just make you tough. It made you into something that has never existed before in the galaxy. What do you mean? Helen asked. You're apex survivors, Cortex rumbled. Every other intelligent species in the galaxy developed on worlds that were kind to them. Safe worlds that allowed civilization to grow peacefully. You developed on a world that tried to kill you every day for millions of years. And instead of just surviving, Nexara added, you conquered it. You made the most dangerous planet in known space into your home. Turned its threats into your pets and its hazards into your hobbies. Ambassador Zethkar delivered the final revelation. Humans are not just another species that happened to survive on a death world. You are the Deathworld species. You are what evolution creates when a planet tries its absolute hardest to kill intelligent life and fails. As little Danny played, with Mr. Whiskers in the corner, completely unaware that he was casually handling what galactic civilization considered a weapon, the aliens finally understood the truth. Earth had not produced tough survivors. It had produced something unprecedented, a species that found the impossible so normal they gave it to their children as toys. The emergency session of the Galactic Council would have to create entirely new categories to describe what they had discovered. Earth was not just the most dangerous inhabited world they had ever found. It was home to the most dangerous intelligent species in the galaxy, and that species considered danger so routine. They had forgotten it existed. 1 week after the first alien landing, Ambassador Zethkar prepared his final report to the Galactic Federation Council. The report would change how the galaxy viewed Earth and humanity forever. He had never written anything like it in his 40 years of diplomatic service. Captain Jake Morrison and Dr. Lisa Campbell sat with the ambassador in the command center. They had become friends over the past week, despite the constant cultural shocks and misunderstandings. The aliens were preparing to leave Earth, but their departure would mark the beginning of a new relationship between humanity and the galaxy. The Council has made their decision, Ambassador Zethkar announced. Earth is now officially classified as a specialized extreme environment research station. This is a completely new category we created specifically for your world.
What does
that mean for us? Jake asked. It means humanity will be invited to join the Galactic Federation as survival specialists, the ambassador replied. Every world in the galaxy faces natural disasters, environmental challenges, and dangerous situations. Your species has expertise that no other civilization possesses. Dr. Lisa Campbell smiled. So our dangerous planet actually makes us valuable? More than valuable, Zethkar said. Essential. We have worlds that experience earthquakes, but they require massive emergency responses. You live with earthquakes and barely notice them. You have species that struggle with temperature changes of 10 degrees. You travel between climate zones that differ by 100 degrees for vacation. The conversation was interrupted by the arrival of young Emma Brooks. The 8-year-old girl would become famous among the aliens for her casual interaction with Earth's dangerous wildlife. She was carrying a small cardboard box with holes in it. "Hi, Ambassador Zethkar," Emma said cheerfully. "Brought you a goodbye present?" The aliens immediately tensed. Emma's previous gifts had included rocks that contained toxic minerals, flowers that produced deadly pollen, and insects that carried enough venom to kill most galactic species. Her definition of friendly gifts was very different from alien expectations. "What is it this time, child?" the ambassador asked nervously. Emma opened the box to reveal a small kitten about 6 weeks old. It was orange and white with bright blue eyes and tiny paws. To any human, it was obviously an adorable baby animal. The alien scanners told a different story. Every alarm in the room started blaring. The aliens' environmental suits began emergency protocols. The floating alien shot up to the ceiling again while the rock-like alien backed toward the exit.
"Emma."
Dr. Campbell said gently, "What did you bring?" "It's a kitten," Emma replied, lifting the tiny animal out of the box. "His name is Fluffy. My cat had babies last month, and my mom said I could give one to the aliens as a going-away present." The kitten mewed softly and tried to climb up Emma's arm with its tiny claws. It was clearly just a baby, completely dependent on care and attention. The aliens were looking at their scanners in disbelief. "Impossible readings," Velahan whispered. "This creature has retractable claws designed for cutting through organic matter. Its teeth are specialized for tearing flesh. The muscular structure indicates it will grow into an apex predator." "It's a baby," Emma said, confused by their reaction. "Look, he's trying to purr." She gently scratched behind the kitten's ears, and it began making a soft rumbling sound. "That sound," Nexera said in horror. "Is it a threat display?" "It means he's happy," Emma explained. "Cats purr when they feel safe and loved. Don't you think he's cute?" Ambassador Zethkar stared at the kitten for a long moment. He had watched human children casually handle creatures that would require military intervention on most worlds. This was just the latest example of humanity's incredible relationship with danger. "Emma," he said carefully, "do many human children have these... predators... as companions?" "Sure," Emma replied. "Lots of kids have cats and dogs and birds and fish. My friend Sarah has a snake, and Tommy has a spider. We all love our pets." The aliens exchanged glances. They had just learned that human children routinely lived with an entire zoo of creatures that would be classified as dangerous weapons by galactic standards. "Does this small predator ever attack you?" Cortex asked. Emma giggled. "Fluffy's not big enough to attack anybody. Sometimes he plays too rough and scratches me a little, but that's just because he's learning. Mom says all kittens do that." She held up her hands, which had several small scratch marks on them. The alien's medical scanners showed that she had multiple wounds from predator attacks, yet she was completely unconcerned about them. "You allow a predator to wound you repeatedly and consider it normal behavior?" Ambassador Zethkar asked. "They're not wounds," Emma said. "They're just little scratches. They don't even hurt much. Fluffy doesn't mean to do it. He's just playing." Captain Morrison had been watching the interaction with growing understanding. "Ambassador, I think this might be the perfect way to explain humanity to your council." "How so?" Carr asked. "Look at Emma," Morrison said. "She's 8 years old. By your standards, she's living with a dangerous predator and treating its attacks as minor inconveniences. But from her perspective, she's just taking care of a baby animal that needs love and protection." "I see what you mean," the ambassador said slowly. "Humans don't think of ourselves as tough or dangerous," Morrison continued. "We just do what needs to be done. If something is dangerous, we learn to handle it safely. If something needs protection, we protect it. If something is broken, we fix it." Dr. Campbell added, "That's why Emma can hold a kitten without fear. She knows it's a baby that needs care. The fact that it might grow up to be a predator doesn't matter to her right now. She sees what it is today and responds appropriately." "Ambassador." Zethkar began to understand. So humans do not seek out danger for its own sake. You simply refuse to be stopped by danger when you want to accomplish something. Exactly, Morrison agreed. You don't climb mountains because they're dangerous. We climb them because they're there, and we want to see the view from the top. The danger is just something we have to deal with along the way. Emma had been listening to the conversation while playing with the kitten. Are you really leaving today? She asked the ambassador, his child. We must return to our worlds and share what we have learned. Will you come back to visit? I believe we will, Zethkar replied. In fact, I think many of my people will want to learn from yours. We may need human teachers to help us understand how to survive difficult situations. That would be cool, Emma said. I could teach you how to take care of pets. It's really not that hard once you know what to do. The idea that an 8-year-old human child could teach galactic experts about handling dangerous creatures was both humbling and amazing to the aliens. Later that day, as the alien ship prepared to depart, Ambassador Zethkar delivered his final speech to the assembled humans. People of Earth, he began, we came here expecting to study primitive survivors on a hostile world. Instead, we found masters of survival who have turned the impossible into the everyday. You have shown us that strength is not about avoiding danger, but about facing it with wisdom and courage. Your children play with creatures that would terrify our greatest warriors. Your elderly citizens live comfortably in conditions that would challenge our finest technology. Your ordinary people accomplish feats that we would consider superhuman. But most importantly, you have taught us that true strength comes not from being tough, but from being kind, despite being tough. You could have used your incredible abilities to conquer the galaxy. Instead, you use them to protect those who need protection and help those who need help. The Galactic Federation will remember Earth not as the most dangerous world we have ever encountered, but as the home of the most dangerous species that chose to be gentle. You are warriors who prefer to be gardeners, predators who choose to be protectors, and survivors who use your strength to help others survive. As the crystal ship lifted off from Earth's surface, it carried with it a new understanding of what intelligence could become when tested by the ultimate challenges. Humanity had shown the galaxy that the greatest strength was not the power to destroy, but the wisdom to create and protect. Emma Brooks stood in her backyard holding her kitten and waving goodbye to the aliens. She didn't know that she had just helped redefine how an entire galaxy understood courage, strength, and survival. To her, she had just made some new friends and given them a cute kitten to remember Earth by. In the years that followed, Earth became the training ground for emergency responders from across the galaxy. Human instructors taught alien students how to handle natural disasters, dangerous wildlife, and impossible conditions. The most dangerous world in known space became the safest place to learn how to survive anything the universe could throw at you. And sometimes when the lessons got too intense, students would visit Emma's house to play with kittens and remember that even the strongest beings in the galaxy started out small and needed someone to take care of them.